ever wondered how your life actually is built out of many, many journeys? I would call them mini journeys. Well, today I have James McGinty with me here in the studio, who actually will tell you more about his life because his life was very, very inspirational. Not only James did so many different jobs and so many different things in his life, but right now he actually is a trainer, he's a speaker coach, he's a speechwriter, and he's a keynote speaker. And if you think he was born that way, which I don't think so is the case, we're going to find out about this today. James, thank you very much for coming into the studio today and sharing your time and wisdom and knowledge with us in advance.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Olga. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I've heard so many people say such great things about the show, I couldn't turn down the offer.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so good to hear. It's so good to hear. But it's my pleasure to have you here. And I was really looking forward to have you here because I know that your story is tremendous. It's really inspirational. And I was looking forward to share your story with other people because I think you can inspire so many others, especially who are going through some challenging times right now. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Wonderful. So James, I know that when I check your website, I was actually surprised how many things you have done in your life. Everything from a farm to actually being in an office, from a bar to many other jobs. I mean, how do you identify yourself? Who are you? Because what kind of mind did you have so many different fields in your life and still carrying on being so busy?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I think the question, who am I haven't finished answering it yet. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to understanding. When I started out in life, I had no direction. I was a drifter, and I would turn my hand to anything where work was available and I could, whatever it took to buy food, pay the rent and have a good time, I would have a go at anything. And it wasn't until very late in life that I realised that actually I've got a massive ego. I have a huge ego that I need to feed. And the way to do that is through keynote speaking, because having a big ego doesn't mean you think you're better than other people. It just means that you want to be admired. And the only way you can be admired is if you've got a gift, if you've got something you can give to other people. So although I say I've got an ego, I'm also a very genuine person. And I've discovered that as a trainer, a coach, a keynote speaker, I just want to give and give to people. But I want something in return.
Yeah.
I want your adoration.
Yeah.
And some money's helpful, but it's about making that connection with other people. And as I say, I only came to that very, very late in life.
Yeah. You see, James, I really can relate to that. Seriously can relate to that because my journey as a coach did not stop me being born saying, hello, I want to be a coach. It actually was a journey, and it was quite an interesting journey because I started, believe me or not, with doing modeling and I was doing acting. And very similar to you, it was searching myself where actually I can be praised, where actually I can be admired, where actually I could feel good about things which I do and achieve. And I found that coaching actually was so rewarding. And later on in my stage of my coaching practice, it was actually speaking world as well. And I was like, wow, I found my world. I found my tribe. So I can relate to what you're saying. But I'm sure there's so many people out there who probably feel the same way, who probably think, how can I feed, myself? How can I feed my ego? How can I feel admired? How can I feel special and significant? What would you tell them? What would be your top tip about how they can find themselves?
It's about first finding what you enjoy, because there's an old saying, and I can't remember who said it. It said if you do a job that you enjoy, you'll never work a single day.
Yes.
And that's what it's about. It's identifying what you enjoy, but you have to be realistic.
Yeah.
If you enjoy playing cards, there's only a few people will ever make it as a professional gambler.
Yeah.
If you enjoy playing snakes and ladders, you probably won't ever make a living doing that.
Yes.
But there'll be something inside you that's attached to that. It's attached to, actually, I like to play games.
Mm-hmm.
And then you broaden that out and think, well, what is it I can do? And I know of invented a game called Rhetoric, and it's a game all about public speaking. Yeah. So that's how you need to find what you enjoy. But that enjoyment, you have to just think, what can I give to other people through this? Yeah. And very often, it's something we have to build in parallel with our own career, because you can't just say, I want to be a keynote speaker. I have lots of people come to me and say, I want to be a keynote speaker. How do I get booked for paid gigs? Mm-hmm. And the answer to that is, it will eventually happen, but not today, not tomorrow, not next week. Some people get lucky. Most, it's hard work. It's building connections in your chosen industry. It's about network. It's more than anything else, it's about connection and communication.
That is very true. And it's quite upsetting to see that many people are not willing to do this work. Very often people either start a business and they think, that's it, I'm going to make a fortune now. Or they become a speaker and they think, that's it, now I'm going to make a fortune next week. It doesn't happen that way. It's really looking who you are, looking for what you're best at and what your strengths are, because it doesn't matter whether you run a typical standard business or you actually are a speaker. It is still a business. Yeah. And you still have to work up to your strengths rather than trying doing everything. I love that. I love that. So basically what people can do is just looking for what they enjoy doing, what they're passionate about, which I love because I think it's really important. See, but then I think you're not going to like me today because I'm going to have really tricky questions here. But then, James, my question is how people can know whether they enjoy something or not. Apart of, yeah, I feel good when I do that. Because as you said, like maybe you enjoy playing snakes, but it's not going to bring money, so you can't monetize that. So maybe doing something else will bring you money. So how actually people can go around, do different things, and learn what exactly they enjoy doing? Is it about looking at different options? Is it about trying things? Is it about, talking to different people, learning from them? What would be the most efficient way?
Efficient. That's a fantastic question. One of the things that I found was that I never arrived at my passion quickly. And there was a lot of shifting from one place to the other, trying something different, trying another thing. But there's a sad fact of life that some people are going to be car park attendants because they don't have that desire to go and do anything else. And it's not until, and once you have desire, if you have desire to better yourself, to make more of yourself, then it's a bit of introspection, a bit of looking inside yourself. And I know for a lot of people, they think it's a bit, but mindfulness is really important, because if you are mindful about what you're doing in the moment, you will realize whether you like that or not. And if you're doing, and we all have to do something we don't like. I hate going supermarket shopping. I detest it, that they're horrible places. And I'm mindful when I'm in a supermarket, but I'm miserable. And that's okay, because I can make games out of it. I can play tricks on the other customers, and that cheers me up. But deep down, I still hate it.
Yeah.
And if you are mindful, you can think very clearly, no, I don't like doing this, or, oh, I'm quite enjoying this. You can go to YouTube, you can watch videos on everything imaginable. And the ones that maybe make your heart just go ping a little bit, you think, maybe that's what I want to do, and pursue it a little bit. But at one point I decided I was going to be a keynote speaker. I then went out networking and told people I was a keynote speaker. And people booked me to do keynote speeches. They weren't fantastically well paid. 95% of the offers were unpaid. But people started to see me as that. And there is a degree, I think a lot of people in the industry might call it fake it till you make it. But it's about self-identifying. Nobody works in a beautician's, and when somebody says, what are you? They say, no, I'm just training to do this. They say, I'm a beautician. And they say it with pride because that's their identity. So it's about, it is, but how can you tell somebody what makes them feel good? They just have to do an inner search and find out what it is that just kind of makes their heart sing.
I love that. But you see, what you described there is something what many people actually are lacking. And it's quite interesting because some people naturally are hungry and they want more. They have desire. And I love the way you said actually have a desire for something. It's amazing. But what can we do with those people who don't have desire? How about those who say, you know what, I'm happy. And all I want to be in life is just being happy. Do you think we should actually just team up and try to change them? Or do you think we just should allow them to be the way they are? Even though very often they complain not even that happy as they say they are, right? You know what kind of people I'm talking here about. Right? Those people who I'm happy and I want more, and yet I'm not happy and I want more. So how can we help them to wake up the desire? Is it possible to wake up a desire? What do you think? Have you been always like so hungry for achievements and to be somebody?
No, I certainly, there were times when I thought I was happy, but that was mostly fueled by alcohol. And that made me feel happy. I was never borderline alcoholic or anything like that, but I was a heavy drinker. My friends were heavy drinkers. We went to bars, we went to clubs. We had a great time. And I was happy. And if you had tried to shift me out of that state of mind at that time, I would have been resentful because I had what, even looking back, I don't think was particularly destructive. It was a few years of my life where I kind of wasted them, but it was fun. And you can't be productive and moving forward every hour of every day. And that's part of what being young's about. We need to let people make mistakes, but we need to be there to offer support when it's going really badly wrong. And yes, there are people who will be happy and genuinely happy sitting in a booth taking money at a car park, although they're mostly taken over by machines now. But there are people who do what you and I might think of as mundane jobs, but it gives them a sense of purpose and keeps them happy. The people who have the most difficulty are the people who have what they call a desire to move on, but they don't want to make the journey. And it's about explaining to people that life can be painful. It can be a struggle. And we can have days where we just think, I don't want to do this anymore. And especially now, there are so many people losing jobs through the current pandemic, or who have moved into other jobs. But I saw so many positive posts from people saying, You know, I was a manager in such and such a business, and standing there proudly with an ASDA uniform on, saying, and now I'm here to help shoppers stay safe.
Yeah.
And they've recognised that they need to continue to earn money. Those people will come back after this. But it's about saying to people, look, if you want to succeed, you have to do the work. And it's about getting people to set goals.
Yes.
Take that tiny first step. And the first step should be tiny and easily achievable. Because then you think, wow, I've done that. Let's move forward and take the next step, which is a bit tougher, but still achievable. And then as you see, you can achieve the small things, as long as you've got that vision out there. And it needs to be a vision. You know, there is no point in setting yourself a goal that you know absolutely you can achieve. That's pointless. You need a vision. You know, and I've still got a long way to go to achieve my vision, because I envisage myself standing on a stage somewhere like the Royal Albert Hall, you know, with 10, 15,000 people there, all hanging on my every word. And I'm working towards that goal, but I know I have to take baby steps. And I know that sometimes I'll fall off a smaller stage. But I have proved to myself over and over again that there are things that I thought were out of my reach. And my life story, or my biggest story of my life, where I had to give up everything
Yeah.
to look after my wife.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
That was incredible, because my wife had Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And all I knew about Alzheimer's was what I had seen in the news, what I'd heard other people say. And it just seemed to me that you were caring for a vegetable almost. And it scared me when Margaret was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. It terrified me. And I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And very often, this is a problem that we face in every bit of our life when we don't have goals. If we don't know what to do, we do nothing. Yeah. And that's what I did initially. I did nothing. And that turned into an absolute nightmare, because behind all that, I hadn't realised was that Margaret's condition, it had worsened slightly. And she wasn't that bad, but she would ask the same question 20, 30 times a day.
Yeah.
And her friends just started to avoid her because they couldn't stand her constantly asking the same questions. And they would answer it, and then she would ask the same question. And they did what everybody does to people with Alzheimer's. They bought her a diary, and they bought her a little notebook to write down the questions in, not realising that she couldn't remember to look in it. Now, so people they've got a will to help, but they don't have the real means, the real deep understanding. So Margaret, as well as having Alzheimer's, became depressed.
Oh no.
And that was when I realised that we had a situation and that I was making it worse instead of better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only when I got to that realisation, I sat back and I examined my life, and I thought, I only have one option here. Right. And that option was to give up my job and the family home and to move back to Scotland so that I could get support from both our families. And at that time, I was just approaching 60 years old.
Mm.
And at that time I was working in one of my many jobs as an IT help desk manager. And there was no hope of me getting back into that industry once I left. because IT skills have to be kept up constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I was forever on courses, learning, taking. So I realized that I wasn't just giving up a job, I was giving up a career and a livelihood.
Wow.
And there was no way back. And that decision was probably the toughest decision I've made in my life. But it was also the best decision I made.
Yeah.
Because I went from, you know, I wasn't top of the tree by any manner of means, but I was fairly well up the ladder. And I went down to just a bit below the bottom rung. And if anybody goes to my website, there's a link to the TEDx talk that I gave about that journey from my wife, because she was a wonderful woman. And we had an absolutely amazing few years together. And we did so many things. We traveled all over Europe. We actually drove in a circle round the United States.
No way.
Yeah, we flew into Newark Airport and drove down south and across to see our son that lived in Los Angeles. And then on the way back, we drove from Los Angeles up to the Great Lakes and back round. And we laid down so many memories. And despite having Alzheimer's, Margaret could still remember some of the things that happened in that journey.
Oh, wow.
And I am not one for taking photos, really, but I made a special effort. And we would just sit down and go through the photos we'd taken, and she would say, oh, and that was the day we met Richard at such and such, you know. And the delight of seeing someone with Alzheimer's remember something that happened after the diagnosis. But Margaret became my world. I had to think for two people. I had to do everything with her as top of mind. And to subsume your own personality and to take on complete and total responsibility for another person's life is absolutely, it's so terrifying. But somehow there was something in me that made me able to do that. And it was through that I discovered my strength. And even while I was looking after Margaret, I thought, you know, this ambition of being a keynote speaker I've always had, this might be the time. And I started my speaking and coaching business part-time. And I got some bookings, and thankfully, either my sister or Margaret's son, who both live quite close, anytime I had a keynote speech, I would say, can you take Margaret for a few days? And they were delighted to do it. They spoiled her. And like when she came back home, she was absolutely hell to live with for a few days because they had spoiled her, and I refused to spoil her because I still treated her a bit like an adult. But it made me realize that we can all achieve whatever we set out to achieve. And since Margaret sadly passed away, it's getting on for 3 years ago now.
Wow.
I know I only look about 21, but I'm 64.
You do look like you're very young. That's true. You're very young.
I feel like 21, but I'm 64 years old. The thought of retirement is not in my mind. I'm in the middle of a lockdown recession where I've not had a client for nearly 2 months.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still building a new career, but more importantly, I'm still building me. And I hesitate to use the word pivoted.
Oh, yeah.
But I've moved more from my keynoting towards my coaching. because I can do coaching better online than I can do keynoting online at the moment. But we're working in the right direction, and I've got some. I did some training online this morning, and so the business is starting to pick up. But it's only doing that because I've been persistent, and I've kept saying, "It's okay, I'll succeed." And I take a step, and it works. I take another step, it works.
Yeah.
And sometimes I take another step, and I go, "Oh, that wasn't a good step. That wasn't a good step." So we just backpedal a little bit, and then move in another direction. And it's about vision.
I love that. My favorite part here is about how really open-hearted and open-minded you were about situation with your lovely wife.
Yeah.
Right? You just had to accept it, just had to deal with them, and you had to work around it, which is really, really admirable. And I really, really respect you for that, because how many people actually would do that? That's a good question, right? But here what you showed is a great example that you were a person who has no drive, no desire, was drinking quite a lot, and now is a keynote speaker, is a coach, is inspiring others. Do you think it was the right situation which really kicked your butt? Or do you think there was something else? Because how can you go from not having a desire to actually having a desire to achieve more?
Okay. So a long time ago, when I had an accident, and I fell, and I put the base of my spine across the arm of a settee.
No way.
Yeah, I was bedridden for 3 months and housebound for almost 2 years. And then I was getting depressed being at home all day.
Yeah.
I was putting weight on, and I saw an advert on TV for a disablement resettlement course. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I wonder, because I'd always been active, as you'll see from my list of jobs. I was a social worker in a children's home. Now, that children's home had 24 kids between the ages of 3 and 16 in it. It was bedlam, and you were just full of energy all day. And I just could not do the same physical stuff that I used to be able to do. So I went on this disablement resettlement course, and I learned a little bit of computer skills. I learned a few office skills, but they couldn't find me any work.
Right.
So they moved me onto an employment training scheme, and they couldn't find me any work either, but they had an obligation to find me a work placement.
Oh, I see.
So they took me on in their own training centre on a work placement.
Right.
And as luck would have it, while I was there, someone else left, and I got their job.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
I became a trainer initially.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of luck involved in it, but that was one of the times where I discovered I like this. This is feeding something in me. This is letting me take my knowledge and give it to other people. And I got good at it. And I found that when you get good at things, people notice. So then they ask you to do more things.
Yeah.
And those things are not necessarily things that you're good at. And that can be a problem.
Yeah.
And one of my bosses, because I'd moved to another company, he recognized that my presentation skills left something to be desired. Right. Which I disagreed with, but he was in charge, he was paying my wages. And he paid for me to join a public speaking club because he was too mean to send me on a course.
Oh, bless you.
Speaking club was £30 a year as opposed to like £300 for a 1 week.
Exactly.
training.
Exactly. Yeah. Or £3,000. Yeah. Because they're different. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one day, someone at the Speakers Club, after I'd been there for a while, persuaded me to enter a competition.
Oh, wow.
And I won.
No way.
That felt good. And I moved on to the next level, which was the area competition. And I won. And it felt fantastic. And I moved on to the next level, which was the division. And I came third. And I hated it. I hated it. I thought, I'm better than these people. Yeah, I wasn't better than them. Otherwise I would have won.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm really enjoying this, and I love this competitive edge. So the following year, I just did a bit more work. I did a bit of learning about what's needed, about the construction, about delivery, and about body language and gesture and voice, the whole works.
Yeah.
And I won the club, and I won the area, and I won the division, and I got to the UK national final.
Wow.
And I watched someone get up and give a much better speech than the one that I was going to deliver.
No.
But I watched him, and I could see what he was doing. So I sat there, and there was 4 more people to speak before me, and I sat there feverishly going, right, do this, change that, do that, do this, change it, do this, do this, do this. And I got on stage, and I won the UK Public Speaking Championship.
That's great.
And that was when I realised that speaking was what was for me.
Yeah.
And I've won over 100 competitions since.
Over 100.
Yeah, and I've won every competition I've entered bar one.
Right.
I've not yet become the world champion of public speaking.
Right.
That's on my vision board. That's on my vision board.
Good.
Because you have to keep that vision. And when you're achieving something, you have to look higher up. But it was that little incident of my boss sending me to that public speaking club that made me go, wow, look how good these guys are. I want to be better than them. Never, ever, ever say, I want to be like her or I want to be like him. Always say, I want to be better than him. I want to be better than her. I want to be the best at what I'm doing. We can't all be the best at what we're doing.
Yeah.
Those with the vision of it are those more likely to become the best at what they're doing.
Yeah. But I love the fact how you just drop opportunity.
Yeah.
You know how many people are out there who just say, oh, opportunity is not here, or I don't have the skill, or I don't have the time, or whatever else. But you just went there and you grabbed the opportunity and you were holding on to that and you developed and you had a big vision. I love that. And I think it's so important. I love what Bob Proctor, he actually said, have such a big goal that when you think about it, you have goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it because you're right. When you set up something what is achievable, what is easy for you to do, you just do it, and then what's next?
Yeah.
Grow. But when you set up something so high, then you think, wow, if that happens, it will be magical, it will be miraculous, it will be awesome.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it. And I love the fact that now you actually have a big, big vision to be the world champion. And I'm sure you will do it.
It's in the vision board. But yeah, I think you really touched on something there, about opportunity.
Yeah.
And so many people do, but I haven't set any goals and I haven't, made any effort.
Yes.
And they say that their excuse is often, I've not had the opportunity.
Yes.
Every day there is an opportunity to do something, but of us with vision, those of us with drive, those of us with ambition, we see the opportunity. And that's where the difference is.
Yeah.
And very much it's, don't wait till life's perfect. I suffered with that problem for years. And I now have a little bit of a motto that a couple of my friends laugh at, but it'll do. Yeah. I needed to revamp. I have 2 websites. I needed to revamp them both.
Yeah.
But I don't have the funds to do that right now, because to get a really good job done, you need to invest a couple of £1,000 to get a good website done. I don't have money to spend in that right now. So I did it myself. And they're not wonderful, but they'll do.
Mm-hmm.
And people often go, I need to get this in place first, and then I need to get that done, and then I need to get this done, and once I've got that done, I'll start.
Yeah.
But each one of those things will branch, and it'll just become like an overgrown garden, and they won't know where to prune, they won't know what bit to nurture. They'll just lose it completely. So just start and just take the steps, and when you see opportunities, take them. And sometimes it will go wrong, but those are learning experiences. When I was a kid, I lifted a red hot coal out of the fire. Most kids do that if they've got a coal fire in their house. Their parents keep telling them not to do it, but it's not until you experience the burn that you realise, oh, they were right, I shouldn't have done that. But look, I've still got all my fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a painful memory of the blisters, the blood, and my mother's hand across the back of my head for being so stupid. So I've got that memory, but I know not to pick up a hot coal, and that there's a better way. And sometimes that's all our mistakes are. It's just a way of telling us there's a better way. Go and find it. But if you haven't got a vision, you'll miss the opportunities.
Yeah. And this is so true. Because it's almost like if right now I'm here in Belgium and I'm thinking, let me go to Australia. I need to know where I want to get first to Australia before I get there. Right? I need to know where exactly I'm going before I can even set off. Because if I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what transport to use. I don't know how many items to take with me. If I don't know for how long I go, I can't plan ahead. So you need to really have that big vision which actually will really push you and will really, really inspire you and will make you work harder. I like that. But I also know, James, that right now you are helping people with presentation skills. Is it right?
Yes.
Could you tell us more about that, please? Because right now, so many people literally are flooding internet with Zoom sessions, with courses, with videos, and what I can see very often between you and me and everybody else who's watching us right now, really bad presentations or really bad videos. So could you please tell us more about this course? How actually do you help people? What are you going to tell them? What are you going to teach them? Why it should be useful?
Yeah, and again, you've used the perfect word. And everybody in the self-development circles has heard of Simon Sinek. And start with why. And I fail to understand why it took so many years for that message to actually hit the world, because everything is about why do you want to do something? Why do you have that desire? And the answer to that is not, well, it will make me a lot of money. And there's an awful lot of courses out there that tell people how to make money. I have in my inbox at the moment the $1 Million Speaker Secrets, because I wanted to know what that was. And I also wanted to know why the person that sent me it, if they can make $1 million, why they're sending me a PDF to get me on one of their courses. So what I'm doing at the moment is I have to be honest, in normal times, I'm considered to be quite expensive. But these are not normal times, and there are people out there who need presentation skills. If you want promotion at work, even if you're just going for an interview, you need presentation skills. And what I do is I take people, and it doesn't matter where they are along the presentation journey, as long as they have a desire to improve. I will show them whatever they need. I've seen some really good quality speakers who have got the body language, the gestures, they've got the voice, but they wander about the stage as if they're lost.
I know.
Yeah, and the audience get lost right along with them. So things like how to move about on the stage, and that's just the actual live presentation side of it. But we start with things like the structure of a speech. Because ask anybody how many parts there are to a speech, and they'll say beginning, middle, and end.
Exactly.
Because it starts way before that. Yeah. And I would contend that many great speeches start in the middle and then go back to the beginning. And if you watch, I think one of the big things on Netflix at the moment is The Money Heist. It's a program everybody's talking about. And half of the episodes are out of sequence. You know, they start in the middle and then they say, and 45 minutes earlier. And then you spend the whole time going, how are we getting back to there? How are we getting back to that? They actually give you a cliffhanger at the start and work to it. And what a brilliant device, because the audience are just hanging on your every word to find out how you get there. So it's little tips and techniques for doing things like that, but getting the right structure. And I've watched so many keynotes end with no call to action.
I know.
And you think, huh? Or they end with a call to action and the audience are all going, oh, that's great. And then they go, any questions? And then it just goes downhill. And the audience leave forgetting the call to action. So it's things like teaching people how to deliver a Q&A successfully, but make sure that they steer the last question into their call to action and say to the audience, you know, go forth and build your vision board. So it's all of these things. And there's tips on how to find keynote speeches, how to find your audience. And in many, many, many cases, people come to me and say, I don't actually know what I want to talk about. And I used to think, well, maybe you should go away and come back again. But I don't anymore, because I've grown. And I realise that I can help other people grow. So I sit with them and we go through a question and answer thing. And eventually we find out what their passion is. We find out exactly what it is that they want to talk about. And I coached one woman who it turned out was really passionate about people with Asperger's, because one of her family had Asperger's. And she ended up coming back to me a few months later to help me build a pitch for funding so that her and her son could build an app for people with Asperger's to help them with their daily life. So it's the whole thing. You know, and I can take somebody from a not ever having spoken before right the way to being confident on stage with a properly constructed, well-delivered keynote. But I can also sit with experts and work with their keynote and say, you know, maybe a little tweak there, maybe move that around a bit, change a few words. Maybe present that bit from a different part of the stage. That kind of thing. So there's something there for everybody. And I'm not here to advertise my wares, but I did say I am quite expensive. But right now, people can get in touch with me and say, I've not got very much money. How about I give you this? And there's a 99% chance that I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have already coached a couple of people in a small way.
Yeah.
I've coached a couple of people for free.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't do that, not because I don't want to. And I've got a couple of people who are on my pro bono list. I've got a couple of people I've mentored for a long time, and I don't charge them because I believe in giving back. But sometimes, unless you make a contribution, unless you take a little bit of risk and say, I'm going to spend out a bit of money here, if you've got no skin in the game, you've got no reason to do it. And I don't want to be just, I was going to say, I don't want to be just telling people things. I'm good at what I do, and I tell people what to do. And 9 times out of 10, it's right. But on that 10th time, I need my clients to challenge me.
Yes.
And tell me, I don't think that'll work for me. And then I'll fight back and tell them that I think it will. I don't want them to give in at that point.
Yeah.
And if people haven't paid me, they will give in at that point.
Yeah.
And that's no good. I want them to come back and say, I gave you 10 grand to teach me this. Sort yourself out.
Yeah.
At which point, I'll sort myself out and we will get to where it needs to be gone, because not everything I say is right for every single person.
Yeah.
So you need clients to be robust. And I can assure you that the more they pay you, the more robust they are. And they're the ones that get the best results.
100%. And I'm sure, James, you also probably came across friends or people whom you know who really would benefit from your coaching, who really would benefit from your services. And then you help them because they're your friend, they're family, they're people who you know. You don't charge them and they don't apply.
Yeah, that's right.
With a stranger who paid you a lot of money, and they had to really find that money, and sometimes they just paid. But when people pay money, they're more committed.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's like when you go on the street and somebody gives you something for free. You pick it up, but you don't really keep it. And usually I do pick up all those leaflets because my first ever job in UK was handing out magazines. But same time, the first place where I take it is bin. That's right. But if you paid money for something, you wouldn't necessarily throw it away. So it's a very fair point. And I always say, you know what, you don't pay just for this service. You pay for your learning, your experience, your expertise, and everything which you know versus what they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's always a valid point to charge, always valid point. But you know what I love the fact that you mentioned that the presentation skills can be also used. You mentioned that in the fundraising, but actually in the charity work, but actually it could be used in the business. How often people need these presentation skills in front of their clients, in front of their teams? How can they lead their team if they don't have presentation skills?
Yeah, it's absolutely essential.
Yeah,
and our world is changing, and I don't think people are really cognizant of just how much COVID-19 is going to change the world permanently. And one day, everybody will have had as many jobs as I've had. That's fairly unlikely, but one of those jobs only lasted half a day, by the way. I got fired at lunchtime, but that's another story.
I love that.
Yeah, but people are going to have to go through interview processes.
Yeah.
Those interview processes will more and more often happen online.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to present properly, then it's just not going to work, because if everything else is equal, if you've both got the same experience, you've both got the same qualifications, you're both the same age, shape, whatever, the one that presents best will get that job.
That's it. Yep.
And the idea is we live in an unequal world.
Yeah.
Make that inequality work in your favor. Yeah, because people like them.
Yeah.
and your interviewer is liable to be a good presenter, and they want to see another good presenter. Nobody wants to see somebody say, when I worked there, I quite liked, it was okay. Nobody wants to see that.
No.
I've seen that on Zoom calls.
Yes.
I have seen people sitting going, yes, it's quite good. Stop. So we need those presentation skills more than we ever had.
Yeah.
And I think that hopefully the whole coaching industry is going to become invaluable. So I don't want to be self-centered and just talk about presentation skills. There are so many other skills that people are going to understand that those who get coaching do better than those that don't.
Of course, yes. Because how can we look at Olympic champions? Let's have a look at football teams. Let's look at tennis players. They don't have a coach. Ta-da! The world, wake up. People have coaches because they want to get better. That's it.
Yeah, and they don't have one coach. Like top tennis players have a coach for their close-up game at the net, and another coach for the game where they play back at the line. Football teams, they have a separate coach for the goalkeepers. They have one for the forwards. They have one for the defence. They have one for teamwork. They've got coaches for mindset.
Yeah.
They've got coaches for everything, and the teams that have those coaches do best.
Of course.
It's the same in life. Everyone who has coaches does better than those who don't, and that's a message that I think needs to get out there more and more and more. And I have a speech coach. I couldn't survive without my speech coach. And if I'm doing a keynote, I go to my speech coach and I send him, first off, I send him a transcript of my speech, which will not be what I deliver, because that's one of the things that I teach, is that you never, ever, ever go from a script. But you do need to know what you're going to say. So you need a bit of a transcript that gets the order and things like that. And then I'll send him a video of what my intention is, which again is not what I'll deliver, because I'm not going to memorize the whole thing. But I know the order, I know the sequence. And he'll come back to me and go, James, you coach people to speak. Why would you do such a stupid thing in your own speech? And I'll go, oh yeah, I didn't realise that. Because we can all keep getting better and better and better. And coaching is the way forward. It doesn't matter what it is. And again, with one of the things that helped me with my decision to give up work to care for Margaret was coaching that I got from the Alzheimer's Society. And it was from a peer support group. I was just coached by people who had been through it.
Love it.
Shared their experiences. So, even if you can't afford to go out and pay for a coach, because sometimes we just don't have the wherewithal. And I detest, I wonder how many self-development seminars you've gone to, Olga, and you see these people on stage saying, just get your credit card out. No, don't put yourself into debt for something like this. Please don't do that. And I would rather, somebody paid me 1/10 of what I'm worth than they went into debt. But even if you can't afford that, find some like-minded people and set up a mastermind group. And just get there and talk to each other and help each other out. And at some point, you'll feel you've outgrown that mastermind group. And that's the point where you take the step and say, I'm going to get a coach and I'm going to go on this journey. So that actually kind of helps answer a much earlier question about how do people find their passion. do that through a mastermind group. And I've been in mastermind groups where people have changed their mind about what they want to be several times. And eventually they've got to the end and went, that's what I want to be. That's what I am. So masterminding is another way to go with that.
Love that. Oh, James, I could talk to you for hours because we're so aligned. We have the same opinion about coaching. We have the same opinion about mindset and how to be having the desire, how to stay hungry. I love it. And I really wish we could just stop time, to freeze it, and carry on with conversation. We can't.
Unfortunately.
Yes, but I really enjoyed listening to you. And what you said about presentations is so valuable. What I will do for you, if you don't mind me asking, because I value that, what you just told about presentations. And I know how much it transformed my life once I learned how to present and how to present effectively. These were two things which are quite different. So what I'll do for you, I'll post the link to your course, to details about your course actually below the video. People can find out more about that because I know how valuable it is and I know it will be life-changing for people. But everybody else who was with us all this time, thank you so much for watching. I could see lots of people joining us and saying hello. So it was great to see everybody staying with us until the very end. Really appreciate it. But James, thank you so very much for coming onto the show and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, inspiring us, and being vulnerable, being honest and transparent about what challenged you and what made you who you are right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it, Olga, and I look forward to seeing you at a PSA online event sometime soon.
We definitely will meet very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.